What's up, Metal Brethren? Welcome to Metal Forge Reviews. Brandon Green and Ben Foe here. The time has come. What a year for metal. If you like videos like these where we cover the best of metal releases, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you never miss a video. We also put all of our picks in a Spotify playlist in the description so that you can easily check these bands out. It's time to talk about our picks for the best metal albums of 2020. What are your favorite albums of 2020? Let us know in the comments. Let's get to it. First pick on my list is My Dying Bride, The Ghost of Orion. Easily one of the best doom metal albums of the year, and honestly one of my favorites of their entire discography. Yep, I'm going there. My Dying Bride celebrated 30 years of their career this year, and they've shown no signs of slowing down, putting out a killer full length, and also their recently released fantastic EP, Macabre Cabaret. One of the biggest highlights of the year for me was having the opportunity to speak with one of our heroes, the lead vocalist, Aaron Stainthorpe, about the making of this album and the music videos. The link is in the description. Amazing riffs and production, killer vocal harmonies, everything about this record is completely stellar.
Dude, I still can't believe that we sat down and talked with Aaron Stainthorpe, and not only was it a great conversation, he's just such an awesome dude. Very humble, very down to earth. We joked around, we laughed, we had a good time, really. You should definitely watch that interview if you haven't already. Just like nearly all these records on this list, the first time I heard this, I just knew it was going to be a treasure of this year. The songwriting is ultra melodic while keeping that grim and frosty black metal atmosphere. The sonic qualities on this album are just out of this world. This is an album that needs to be listened to on headphones with the lights down low. There are such extreme subtleties on this record that I'm sure you'll be hearing new things on it with each playback. Ages Uncrowned, awesome.
I'm so glad you put Ages on your list because that record has just never left my Spotify playlist. It's almost sad how many times I've listened to that album. The next one on my list is Oceans of Slumber, self-titled. This album took me by complete surprise. And honestly, I didn't really connect with any of their albums until their self-titled came out this year. Unbelievable riffing and compositions, but what makes this record shine are the emotionally devastating soul-singing vocals of Cammie Gilbert. Some of the most beautiful and crushing progressive doom that I have heard this year, and honestly, period. Definitely check this out if you have missed this record. I revisit this album all the time, and it's great for having yourself a good think, or if you're out on a badass cemetery walk and need yourself some tunes.
Oh boy, that song is stellar. If you're into melodic death doom and you haven't heard the name Fires in the Distance yet this year, I'm rather stunned, actually. This album took the scene by storm, and rightfully so. Echoes from Deep November is the perfect addition for anyone that likes their melodic death driven by emotion and passion. The guitar-driven songs are beautifully supported by fantastic synth arrangements and crystal clear sonic quality provided by Studio Wormwood's Dave Kaminsky. A lot of the synth parts remind me of older, middle-era Dark Tranquillity. That vibe is all over this record. Get on top of it if you haven't already.
I'm so glad that you put Echoes from Deep November on your list because honestly, that album should be Echoes from Deep 2020. That album is just a representation of what this year is for me. It's so freaking good. Next on my list is Lick, Misanthropic Breed. For those who watch this channel, I am not really a death metal guy, but when a band drops a banger using an HM2 pedal, buzzsaw guitar tones, and Swedish death metal tropes, I'm gonna pay attention. This record is a complete blast to listen to, and I love the black and white comic book aesthetic that is in the album artwork to go along with the music. This album is Riff City The vocals are punishing and brutal. The production is top notch. Honestly though, what captured me is that they made that chainsaw tone of the 90s death metal records sound fresh and new. I'm totally addicted. I've been in love with bands like Entombed, Bloodbath, Dismembered, you name it, bands like that for years. This is an absolutely crushing album that came out this year in this genre. All for it. Grab it.
I'm glad that you put that Lick album on my radar, dude. It completely flew under my radar. Whenever you say HM2 Swedish death metal, I want to hear it. This band has delivered one of the coolest and easiest to listen to melodic death metal albums of the year. It is spun together with such infectious, melodious riffing that it left me humming some of its earworms for days on end. That's when I know I really like a record. Wolfheart's Wolves of Karelia came pretty close to beating this one out, but Nyktophobia just inched over Wolfheart simply due to the concise songwriting. It's engaging, fun, and has all the elements I love about headbanging, fist-pumping, melodic death metal. Check out Nyktophobia.
It's cool we have picks on here that we haven't heard, because I actually haven't really listened to the Nyktophobia record yet, but I need to circle back and fix that. Next one on my list is C, Impermanence. These guys are from Massachusetts and a local band, and they contacted us when we first started our channel about doing a physical review of the album. And honestly, this album hit my playlist weekly, pretty much all of 2020. Absolutely phenomenal compositions, spanning the doom, sludge, post-rock, and even some black metal moments with blast beats. C have carved their place and stood apart from so many doom records this year. This Massachusetts progressive doom outfit are onto some pretty amazing things, and I cannot wait to hear what they do next. Once shows are a thing again, I will absolutely be checking this band out live. I'm sure this stuff is absolutely crushing with just the wall of amp sound that they have on this record.
Dude, I love how permanent that C album has become on our playlist, man. It's such a great record. I saw C a few years ago now, and I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. I wanted them to really focus in on their sound, and they have. Impermanence is an unbelievable record. You need to put that on your radar because that's on my top 10 as well.
Dishonor, a plague of virtue.
Hey, remember when I said I didn't want to reveal my top albums on the best of Doom picks? Well,
I lied.
sorry. Upon listening to Grave Image again, I was like, damn, this album is solid. This was a toss-up between My Dying Bride. Brandon, I'm glad that you have that on your list because it would be absolutely on mine if we were doing like a top 15. But Deathwhite squeaked by simply due to how the album rises in its cohesion and perfection throughout from the beginning to the end, whereas the My Dying Bride record kind of loses a little bit of its luster for me in the middle. I can't believe I'm putting two East Coast bands from the USA that both play melodic doom death on my list. It's been a great year for this subgenre. If you haven't heard Deathwhite, definitely get that on your radar.
I'm so glad you put that on your list. That's another album that we heard early in the year and kept hanging out in my playlist. Love that album. Deathwhite crushes.
Awoken from the mist of haunted dimlit daydreams, I sharply snap back into...
Next on my list here is Judicator, Let There Be Nothing. There wasn't enough traditional metal on this list, so I figured I'd give some love to our friends in Judicator and their fantastic metal release. Easily one of the most impressive young bands that I've heard in years. If you like the melodies used in bands like Iron Maiden, Blind Guardian, Judicator is absolutely the band for you. Stunning riffs and compositions, unbelievable vocals and harmonies, stories of glory from history. This band has it all. This band makes me want to suit up in armor and mount up and head into the throes of a battlefield to take on invaders of my land. Definitely check this out if you love traditional heavy and power metal.
That's a great pick, Brandon. I know that when you heard that album for the first time, the Judicator album, you were just like floored and you wanted me to check it out, and it's definitely awesome. It's funny how Judicator beat out Demons and Wizards this year. That's an interesting take. Take it how you will. When I knew Green Carnation was coming out with an album this year, I had a pretty good feeling that it was going to be on my favorites. That chorus you just heard is just totally infectious. Thankfully, unlike many other 2020 agenda items, this album did not disappoint. Leaves of Yesteryear is an introspective odyssey into the human condition. The band very openly talks about fear, loneliness, and other difficult aspects of our existence with such strong musical backing that it's hard not to be simply awestruck by the heaviness of the lyrical content. This album is a total stunner and leaves me feeling hopeful in spite of the complex vulnerabilities that are touched upon in the themes. Green Carnation knocked it out of the park again. Definitely put them on your radar if you have not already.
I love that Green Carnation record. It is definitely one of the best progressive metal albums of this year by far. Next on my list is Spell, Opulent, Decay. Man, I can't stop talking about this record. It's made it on so many top lists this year, and for good reason. Spell know how to do their craft of hypnotizing heavy metal in the best way, down to nailing their old school persona, amazing and enchanting music videos, recording to tape. They really have it all. And for such a young band, I can't wait to see what these guys continue to do. This album makes me want to roam the woods, where I ultimately find a wanderer who invites me to fireside and tells me great stories filled with mystery. Once shows return and these guys come to the States, I'll be front and center singing all of these songs. Amazing album. Check it out.
Dude, Opulent Decay is absolutely incredible. We had the very great pleasure to speak with Cam Mesmer of Spell. Definitely watch that video if you haven't already. He gave us a lot of very cool background information on the album, on how it was recorded. Definitely check that out if you haven't already, and listen to Opulent Decay. Unlike Green Carnation, these next few records came as a complete surprise to me, starting with this one, Deadwood Tree. While there were quite a few awesome melodic doom death albums this year, Mourn came straight out of left field and was a complete mind-boggling experience for me when I first listened to it. I was initially intrigued by the beautiful yet disturbing album art with the fox spitting up blood and the arrow in its neck. The illustration style is majestic, while the content is rather distressing. I don't like to see foxes get murdered. That's exactly what Mourn comes to showcase best. This independently released debut album from Spain's Deadwood Tree absolutely crushes both the emotional content and the music. It reminds me of some of my favorite melodic doom bands like Rapture, Swallow the Sun, or Daylight Dies. Absolutely check out Deadwood Tree if you are into those bands, and let me know what you think in the comments below.
That Deadwood Tree record is freaking phenomenal. Honestly, it hasn't hit my rotation as much as you think it would, given that I love this type of music as much as we do, but still an amazing record. Next on my list is Obsidian Tongue Volume 3. Yes, you guessed it, Obsidian Tongue is in my top list. We are huge fans of this band on this channel for their fantastic songwriting, organic production, and total feel approach to how they compose a record. Volume 3 seemed to have pushed the band into brand new territories with amazing clean sung passages, keyboard and piano parts, and long entrancing compositions throughout all of the songs on this album. This record sounds to me like if David Gilmour decided to make a black metal band. I mean, I can't really describe it any other way. Amazing, psychedelic, and emotionally captivating music. I cannot wait to hear what else these guys churn out years to come. They're onto something extremely special with what they improved upon with their sound in Volume 3.
2 words, Obsidian Tongue. That's it. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. This album is one of the more unique records that I latched onto almost immediately upon first hearing it. There are very strong post-hardcore shoegaze influences that are balanced out very tastefully with electronica. The songs have a dreamy vibe and leave me feeling like I'm in a dream, flying above a bustling city, looking down at the dazzling lights and people, completely unaware that I'm above them. The production kind of leaves something a little bit to be desired, but I think it only adds to this record. It is, after all, an independently released album, and I think the songwriting and uniqueness of this record just completely overshadows the lackluster sonic qualities. Check out A Light in the Dark if you haven't already.
That's an awesome pick. It's funny that you put that on your list because we have like no real post-influence kind of stuff on here, so it's really great that something of that type is sort of on here. Next on my list is UADA Djinn. I've been a fan of these guys since their first album, and honestly, I think that they've improved on their brand of melodic black metal every single release. Djinn is a fantastic surprise that added some post-punk and new wave of traditional heavy metal influences to their sound in the best way. I love the attention to detail this band has, down to their organic production, killer direction and narrative in their music videos, and beautiful touches to their merch. A fantastic band all around, and Djinn constantly hit my rotation. Killer musicianship on this record. I cannot wait until shows return so that I can hear this stuff and be haunted in person. Amazing record, pick it up.
That UADA record is awesome, dude. I'm so happy that you have that on your list. Saw them a few years ago back in Boston when they came around with Imperial Triumphant. I hope they come back around to Boston because they put on a killer show. Great vibe. And Djinn is an awesome album. Dude, I have another post-influence band, and I just have no words to say how good this band is. It's a rarity that an album just leaves me so speechless, but Svalbard has that ability, and I'm grateful that musicians like them are out there doing their thing. To top it off with the post-hardcore shoegaze bands, like I just was talking about with A Light in the Dark, this very well could be in my top 3 albums of this year. When I Die, Will I Get Better? First, a shout out to Rob over at the Metal Meltdown for putting this one on our radar. I was totally floored upon first hearing it. I'm a sucker for post-hardcore, if you couldn't already tell, and this group delivers the punishing ferocity of that subgenre with the bleak and dreary aspects of shoegaze and doom. The lyrical content is exactly what we need in modern metal. Powerful poetry that challenges social norms. I love when musicians use their art as a platform to push back against the bullshit. That's what hardcore, to me, is all about. Svalbard does that in spades. They do that with such an introspective look into humanity and the emotional existence that we all go through. Svalbard, if you haven't checked that out already, stop everything you're doing and check that record out. We finally did it. We finally hit December. It's the end of 2020. Thank the gods. And this year has been absolutely incredible for music. Don't you think so, Brandon?
Absolutely, dude. I'm so glad that we started this channel and did all this because honestly, I feel like this made 2020 suck a lot less.
Yeah, for sure. It gave us something to do. It gave us an outlet to focus things on, to focus our writing, to focus our time by listening to all this music. I can't even remember the last time I've listened to this many albums. It's been forever. So, friends, what are your favorite albums from this list? What are your favorite albums from 2020 in general? Was there something that we missed? Yes, I'm sure there was. Leave us a comment or hit us up on social media. If you want to see some more picks, go check out our playlists where we have our videos organized, reactions, best of lists, we have underground spotlights, and all kinds of other cool stuff, interviews, and the like. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out. Go with the gods and forge on, friends.